Hey guys, hope you are all having an amazing Sunday. Today, we are going to talk about a couple of things of importance in anticipation for yet another week in delay of a squeeze. This video will have all the much needed information you want in order to stay on top of everything that could happen. Before we start, let me quickly state that I am not a financial advisor, and that all content discussed in this channel is simply information gathered that I deem important for people to know, so that they can make informed decisions. All efforts are aimed to better understand the nature of the current market in anticipation of the greatest squeeze in financial history. Let's get started. Nothing to start off the week like having the current administration economic advisor publicly lie to every single American, telling us that the new spending bill will reduce inflation. This social degenerate, called Brian Dees, as in Dees Nuts, came out to try to do some damage control and some positive PR for the Biden administration by lying on how they are expecting the new bill to reduce price pressures. Using basic common sense, Brian Dees stated that by providing affordable childcare and elder care, they are hoping to get more people back into the workforce, which will reduce price pressures and also reduce practical costs that Americans face. This is such a brazen and outrageous explanation as to how the economy works. You could literally pay off all elders and childcare and inflation would remain relatively unaffected. It goes to show how politicians are out of excuses and are now speaking to the lowest denominator by using things that don't even make sense in order to appear that they are in control. Let me give you guys a practical clue. Whenever people talk about fixing inflation, the name of the Fed has to be somewhere. You cannot fix inflation if the Fed is allowed to keep doing what they are doing. The money printing machine that they are hasn't seen any real consequence for their inability to perform their duties, to control the economic recession we are in, or to even make any progress on any of the matters they say they are looking into. For example, every time the Fed is forced into explaining what their plan to combat inflation is, and they lay it out, within 4 weeks, though on average 1 to 2 weeks, something happens that derails the plan and forces them to back down to zero. The inflation is so out of control that even measuring it against pre-pandemic prices, it's still blown out. I will keep reminding you guys of this until the day I stop making videos. The reason why inflation got to this is because the Fed attempted, and exceeded, to isolate Wall Street from the onsets of the pandemic problems. The rich were simply not allowed to suffer like us peasants, so policy was made and decisions and free will were bestowed to Jerome Powell and his subordinates to enact policy and grant requests so that Wall Street could not only remain unscathed, but actually profit from the pandemic. Why do you think major indexes in the stock market in general are at record highs while America is having massive issues in pretty much every other economic sector? The Fed protected Wall Street at the expense of printing so much money that now it doesn't even know how to control. As such, we now have economic advisors, chairmen and everyone in between lying to us on the weekly. The Biden economic reform bill is not going to fix inflation because it simply cannot fix it, as it isn't designed to do so. In order to fix this, you need to dismantle and fire the people in charge at the Fed, propose a new sensical plan that takes care of labor shortage, exports, consumer prices and other factors and then enact it with oversight of someone who can meet expectations and deliver. I warned, towards the beginning of the Evergrande fiasco before it erupted, that inflation was going to spread like wildfire if it wasn't controlled. Well, once again I pulled a Nostradamus from my tinfoil hat, as Western inflation has set monetary levels in China at a stalemate. Their commodity prices are inflating, and their consumer prices are set to follow if the latest economic data is taken seriously. Furthermore, you want to know who else's ship is starting to sink? Last Thursday, Japan's central bank reported that its wholesale inflation reached its highest level in 40 years. With a steep increase in commodity prices, Japan was unable to correctly handle or even control surging inflation. For example, the price of lumber went up 57% from 1 year ago for Japanese producers while the price of coal and petroleum products rose a nightmarish 44.5%. For now, and it's key that you guys pay attention to what I am about to say. For now, Japanese private sector firms have largely absorbed the rising costs of inflation. Do not expect this to continue. Soon, either they outright start making changes that will stump the entire country's flexibility to handle the situation, or they will slowly start falling out. They are, according to source, very afraid that passing the increase in prices to consumers will negatively affect household spending. The chaos that was started to save poor old Wall Street has ensued and set ablaze other countries. Going back to China, since I omitted to give you guys some numbers and perspective, things are dire, as we said. Last Wednesday, China's National Bureau of Statistics reported produce price index rising by 13.5% from 1 year ago on the month of October. This price beat the analyst prediction of a 12.5% rise. Similar to Japan, China's sharp jump in prices has yet to reach consumers, but rising factory gate prices may trigger anxiety for the rest of the world. If the statements of the current administration are to be taken seriously, we are in a worse place right now than we were at the worst time last year. Things have been crumbling, and the so-called progress that politicians have boasted about is nothing more than just abrupt lies to cover up mismanagement. The divergence in value between the stock market and real life can only worsen the market crash that will happen if things aren't repaired quickly and with extreme precision. I will continue to hedge my future in GME and AMC, and show a bit of love for loopring too. Manage your money as you see best. The motley clothes might be shorting many things in life, but they certainly are short of some self-awareness too. In a weird tweet that came across as incredibly out of touch, the motley fool said, "Never bet against large groups of motivated people who are trying to make the world a better place." The irony in this tweet is astounding, second to none. This company publishes daily articles spreading a ton of nonsensical FUD in relation to meme stocks, though a bit more on AMC. It's so bad they have become incredibly unpopular over the past couple of months. Some of the investment opportunities they have pushed have been pump and dumps, with some institution like Citadel having big money in them prior to them being hyped by the motley fool. This goes to show that there is no narrative with these companies. They are here to serve their masters and price themselves to the higher bidder on Wall Street. I don't think I have to tell you guys to never take anything said by the big media as serious. Furthermore, I have seen some rather influential people on social media, particularly Twitter, switching sides all of a sudden on meme stocks. Where once they said they were fully invested in them, now they are saying these stocks are going nowhere and that we are a cult. Funny enough, their entire personality seems to be about AMC and GME. If there are so many opportunities out there to make more money like they claim, they sure seem to be ignoring them just to bash AMC and GME to their diminishing audiences. Goes to show that many people are just using meme stocks as an opportunity to get clout and get famous, so be careful to who you listen to for advice and information. I am big on advocating do your own research and invest in what you want. Now, let's talk about AMC and GME. One thing that I wanted to mention is that many people are now acting as if the surge for meme stocks is done for a long time. I would like to remind these people who seem to be emotionally crippled by the lack of constant dopamine rush that there are two things they must keep in mind. First, GameStop has their quarterly earnings soon, and that it is likely that is when we are going to get some really bullish news. We talked about loopring already, so who knows what else they could have in store for us aside from expected better results. Also remember that climbs happen based on swap cycles, if my theory still stands true. Remember that there are delays on this as well, so you never really know what could happen. And the second thing you need to know is that meme stocks are not a never-ending roller coaster. They are a ride that is mostly boring, stagnant and downwards a lot of the time. These large it breaks that 40 on Monday. However, the question will be if it can hold and consolidate above that price throughout the rest of the week. If it doesn't break that 40, we will retest $38 again. GameStop had a similar pattern of trading, since it enjoyed some of the rising momentum that AMC enjoyed from their earnings call. GameStop fell after a bullish Monday performance, testing 196 at one point. After a small bounce that had it run up to 208, it fell again. For this week, expect support at 198, 192.65 and then at 190. Resistance will be at 208 and then 211. Anything above 220 will be a home run. Friday's performance was not good, so I hope Monday we can consolidate and test 208 at some point. If we can't hold above 200, we will most likely break 196 and retouch 192. I have a feeling we will go up slightly, but still, I am staying zen on this because it's incredibly hard to predict. And that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you all for making it to the end of the video, you guys are all amazing. If you want to support this channel, I have a Patreon link in the description as well as some one-time donation links for Cash App and PayPal. Thank you again for being a part of this channel. I will continue striving for better content. Until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend and to the moon.